so as you open up your counter display, you're gonna either have a case or you're gonna have a box that it comes in. What you want to do first is you want to take everything out, and it's gonna have packaging on it, and some foam and some protective layers, and you're gonna remove those and put them on the ground and just kind of lay everything out. You can put certain extrusions that look the same all together, and the next thing that you're going to want to do is save the packaging. The packaging is going to be important because when the show is over and you need to send everything back, you can reuse the foam and a lot of the protective layers to be able to repackage everything. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take inventory. So you're going to want to make sure that everything looks right, that you have the SEG frame. You're going to have the component bag, which usually has the instructions in it, and it'll also have the tools needed to tighten everything together. In addition, you're going to have the countertop and the graphics. The graphics will be in the bag, protected, and you're just going to want to set those aside for now. The next thing you're going to do is identify all the components. You're going to start to see which ones are the corners, which ones are the tops, which ones are the bottoms. If you have doors that come with it, you're going to start to see those frames as well. Once you've done all that, keep in mind that your counter might be a different size than this one. This counter that we're setting up is a 6 foot wide by 2 foot deep counter. Yours might be something different. It could be a 2 foot, a 4 foot, or a custom size. So just keep that in mind. So as we put this together, yours might go together a little bit differently. Please stay tuned for the next video. So here's an example of two pieces that need to go together. Each side is labeled. This one has a 13 and this end has a 13. And so we know that these two pieces actually go together. Now if you go to put it on like this, you'll notice that this screw is going to tighten down just like this side. But one little trick that you'll find is that if you pull this out and you push it in, it doesn't want to go. Okay, so it's pretty common that you actually need to remove this piece right here. All the way out. And then place this back in, nice and snug. And then you can add this in. When you receive it and you open up the package, you'll notice that this piece was in the other side, but that's just so it doesn't get lost. But it is common that you do have to remove it, put the piece in nice and snug, and then use your star tool to go ahead and tighten it down. And there you have it. We're starting to put the frame together here, and I just want to point out two things. One is you'll know that the bottom of the counter frame, you'll be able to detect the orientation of it, of what's the bottom, what's the top, because the numbers will be right side up. If you're finding that all your numbers are upside down, then it probably means that the counter is being put together upside down. The other thing that I want to point out is that you just use the star tool and you make sure that this is in nice and snug here. And again, we have a 14 and a 14, so we know this is correct. We take our star tool and we just put it in, and it's usually about a full turn to get this to go. And you just continue till it's nice and snug, and it will actually stop like that. You don't want to force it, you don't want to over torque it, because that might break the lock. And then lastly, you'll know if you're putting it together right as well, because there's a channel, a little groove on the outer edge here. this should be facing outwards because that's actually where the graphic will fit in. The graphic has a little silicone strip, the SEG, and that is actually going to fit into this perimeter of the frame going all the way around the edge. If for some reason it looks like that this groove is on the inside, it probably is not being put together correctly. So that's just another thing to be aware of. Anyways, this frame is coming together nicely. We're going to continue on here, and we'll catch you in the next video. So the frame is almost done. The only thing we have left to do is actually put the doors on. But it's starting to come together nicely. The whole frame has been put together. We just followed the numbers all the way around. It starts to build on its own the more pieces are put together. You can see the corners right here, 10 and a 10, so all the labels are matched up. Sometimes they're labels, other times we'll use a Sharpie as well, just depending on what works best for each piece. The corners match up with the tops and the bottoms all the way around. And then inside are the supports. Now these right here are the top supports, and it just provides a little extra support for the countertops. So here are the countertop pieces right here. These are the plexiglass pieces, and these will sit right on top like that. So what we have left to do now is put the doors on. Then we'll be putting the fabric graphics on, and then lastly the countertop pieces, and that's it. So we just added the doors onto the back of the counter. And again, on your counter unit, you may not have doors on them. This is more of a specialty item. But I did want to point out one thing. When we added the doors on, the doors are actually pre-hung. So they actually come with the hinge on them already. If there's locks on them, they come with the locks already on them. So one door is a single unit, and sometimes in order to attach it, it actually attaches the same way with the little connectors here, with the little star tool that attaches onto it. But if you're finding that you're not able to put it on because there's pieces in the way, sometimes you have to loosen up a corner. Like in our case, we had to just kind of, let me focus here. We had to loosen this corner piece and then loosen another piece over here, and it actually slipped right on after that. So not uncommon. That takes a little bit of kind of loosening in order to get it to fit. So anyways, looking good. The doors are on now, and here come the graphics. Okay, we're just about done with the graphics. We just have one side left. Here's a side, and it's partially put in. So when I put the graphics in, I usually start at the top. And the graphic itself has the silicone strip that's stitched into the graphic, and it goes all the way around the perimeter. So if you start at the top, it goes right into this channel on the SEG frame, and once you get it started, you can just push all the way along and you get to the corner, and that goes in nice and clean like that. And then you flip this corner in, get that started. And then same thing, once it gets going, then you can just kind of slide your thumb or hand all the way down, just like that. If for some reason you need to remove the graphic, it'd be really hard to get your fingers on it and pull it from the corner. So we have these little tabs stitched into it. You can just pull them like this, and you can remove the graphic that way. But there you have it. That was the last graphic. And they go all the way around. The first time putting them on can be a little bit tricky, but you'll get the hang of it really quick. And then going forward, you'll be a pro at it. And you'll be able to put these on in no time. The last step, probably the easiest step, is just applying the countertops. So in this counter, we had 2 pieces that make up the full 6 foot length. Each piece on this one is 3 feet by 2 feet. And on the corners, you'll notice that they're cut at a 45 right here. But where they join in the middle, these are straight. The other thing I want to point out is that we use a plexiglass, which is what we call a frosted acrylic. And on one side, it's more of a clear finish on this side. It's a little bit smoother. And the actual frosted part of it is on the top. So what you want to do is make sure that the frosted part is facing up. And then the last thing with countertops are these little pieces right here, which is just another little plexi piece. But what these do, these have a little backing to them, a little adhesive back. And what you want to do is you want to put the countertops on kind of where you can line them all up. So every corner is kind of spot on, like this. And then once you know that it's lined up and about right, what you do is you remove one side like this, and you peel back the adhesive, and you put them underneath on the frame. Not actually on the frame, but on the acrylic bottom, so underneath. So this will actually stick underneath like this, underneath it. And what these do, these little blocks, if you put them on all 4 corners, it'll prevent it from falling off. So you're going to want to make sure to do that with these little pieces, so that if somebody bumps it or somebody tilts the counter back for any reason, these don't just come sliding off. Okay? So they just go underneath like that. For this one, we're not at the show yet, so we're not going to put those on just yet, so we don't want them to pop off. But we are done with this counter assembly. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you a quick glance all the way around so you can see the final product. And again, this one is a 6 foot wide by 2 foot deep by 40-inch tall counter. It's a custom counter. It's got the locking doors in the back. And this is the SEG frame system, so the silicone edge graphic frame. And then as you pan out, you'll see that the back wall itself goes along with the same style and the same look as the counter. So both of these are the SEG frame system. So when combined together, it makes for a very attractive trade show display, and also very portable, so you can take it from show to show. Thank you for watching this video on how to put together the SEG counter, and please watch the other video on how to put together the back wall. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to help. This is a great system, and so I really recommend it for anybody who's interested. You can leave a message down below or give us a call. Thanks a lot.